Good evening, my fellow travelers on spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy. I'm looking. Oh, static. What's corporate? Let's find corporate. They've given me all these new songs, so now I'm like, hey, what does corporate mean? We don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody really knows what any of these things mean. Doesn't really matter. We're enjoying it anyway. Also, I fixed this light, have not fixed that light. That light's next, up there by my E, but I'll get that one fixed here in a second. Weekend's going well. I've been cleaning my office, which is daunting. Since the beginning of the... Oh, I have a Star Trek answer for you. Depends on whether you may or may not like it. We'll see. Snowman. What's your Star Trek question, my friend? I am more than capable of answering things, just maybe not in any logical way. Corporate's interesting. I'm feeling very corporate, like I should have a three-piece suit and a tie. I'm broadcasting, but I can... The color of the Akira class is generally eggshell. Although my Akira tends to be this gray. The actual... Hang on, let me change this light. I've fixed this light, but I had to replace the actual widget for it. So the controller is... Akira class, though, she should be eggshell. Clicking on the lights. All right. Why is the server unresponsive? What does that mean? Server is unresponsive. Oh, it's because that's not the name of this. Yeah, it's called eggshell. Let me give you, because of course here's my Akira, but the problem is my new key light here is not set up to the rest of the system yet, because that's what I was going to do tonight, was mess with the system. And she should be eggshell, which would be closer to... Put you back up on there. Like Voyager, this eggshell blue. So like this eggshell blue, it should be. She's part of the Warrior Defiant. The Defiant, which is also sort of that eggshell. Oh, these are all my enemy ships in here, including squadrons of Cardassian fighters. Aren't they so cute? I always can just say I absolutely adore my cloaked Romulan ships. So, yeah, it should be in that eggshell color. All right. All righty. So, if you are talking about the TOS era 1701, she's definitely a different color than that. This is a little more complicated. All the starships in the way. All right. Close to the eggshell you have duck egg blue. That looks like it's a little too dark. I got the actual paint chip. Hang on. I can send the actual paint chip to you. Hang on. Like we have all of the usually the Trekkies carry a lot of that. Light is going to have to be fixed here in a second, but we can do that in a second. So let me go through, have it out in my Star Trek collections, as you might imagine. Because it's in my TNG folder. And here's them building the Enterprise. Because it's one of those where the colors change depending on the camera, the lighting, all kinds of stuff. Hang on. I'm trying to decide that might be one of the pictures we want to send you there as just that one because it's got a little bit of the various color codes. I'm looking around to see if I can't find the There's one that shows the Enterprise C's color codes, and that would be close enough. But I know that I've got one that's probably a little bit more accurate. But I mean, we can use the Enterprise C's color codes if we need to. They will work in a pinch. Just kind of sorting through here, looking for my color codes. A little harder than I thought it was going to be to find this. Hang on. I got this. I got you. I got you. Let's do this right. Right? I guess she is a gray. Because I'm looking through the color codes here, and it says that the Borg fighters are gray. They weren't actually designed to be in blue. Which is kind of aggravating, because I thought she was eggshell, but she's not. The Borg fighters apparently are a different color code set. Oh, yeah. Okay. I got paint chips on her. Hang on. I can send them to you. Just have to find the correct spot. Sending this back to you, man. Once I figure out what happened to it. I put it somewhere safe. I just had this. I just had it just a second ago. Oh, there it is. There. I also feel like the Kira is such a lovely little ship. It's such a meanie, too. There. You are welcome. Yeah, Akiras are by far and away my favorite ship. She's a little bit of a warspite, so it's one of those things where if I were to have my story be about my ship. My ship would be an Akira, and I'd be like, "Ooh, look at my Akira," and stuff. But if I were to do that, I would most certainly end up doing a story about how um, uh, there's a reason I am chuckling. And the reason that I am chuckling is the reason that I'm 15 minutes late to start my show tonight was because I was talking to the artist at the Star Trek models and props. He's a buddy of mine because he and I are both ridiculously obnoxious Star Trek fans. But he messaged me earlier tonight. It's like, I'm doing work. You want to hang? And so I was like, sure. So I hung out with him. We talked about starships and we talked about all kinds of stuff. And I find it funny that that would be who you would want to message next if it wasn't me. Because that seems fair. I mean, I'm totally cool with both of those. You know, he would know. He would know just as well as I would, if not better than I would. Although I think I'm better at Akira than he is, specifically the Akira. Fair. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I can change this to cool white now. Yeah, see, I can change it to cool white. There you go. You're just stupid bright. Nah, it's really still bright. You're still trying to kill me. But I have control over this light now, which is good. So I'm no longer a dark hole in the middle of nowhere. Now we're going to try to get that light under control. Okay, now I need to add that device. Alrighty. Set up the light. There we go. That's what we're looking for. By the time I... So before it just said, hey, is it blinking? Yeah. Look for it, look for it, look for it, look for it. Figure it out, bro. You should find it. It's blinking. It's asking for it to be founded. All right. Hey there, Jackson. We're setting up lights. Because these two lights burned out. It still couldn't find it. Oh my God. It gave up. No, it's because they need to set up through the smart life. That's why. That's why I didn't do the. Can I find it some other way thing? My front door sensor is offline. That sucks. All right. This is so confusing. This should not be this complicated, guys. There we go. Well, it's good to see you, Jackson. Aha! Looks like we have control. West, south. and see whether we have control of it. Looks like control here. All right. I believe I have. Do you have to get in there? You're like, I'm a pest. How else can my life be if I wasn't in? If I'm not in. Here we go. All right. Now the question is, can I get it back where it was mounted before? There we go. It's amazing how much that one light changes the lighting in this room. And E sits up there. So does my disco prize. And my refit. You really need in there, don't you? Really need you to not be in here. There. Fix that problem. What is Home Assist? Is it an app or what's the story? I mean, these are all set up as Smart Life. Can I control them through Home Assist? Because I'd rather have that. And can I set up custom routines? And would you like to join in and walk me through it? Because I'll take anything. The biggest problem I've got is using the Alexa app. Yeah, Smart Life. Using the Alexa app is wonderful. I love using the Alexa app, except that the only controller that they have is an app. So it can only be controlled by my phone, which means that I'm constantly doing this to set up my routines and doing this to set up, and it's such a pain in the ass. It's just so obnoxious. Like I can set up my smart link. How do you know the outdoor air pressure? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's just like any stupid app. I'm wondering if it'll be easier for me to deal with this if it was here. It's kind of nice. I can kind of do these things from here. I can at least side load control my phone from my PC, which allows me to go through some of these and kind of fix them. 9 lights, three controllable outlets. Like I can control some of these routines from here. Because I've got to add now 2 lights because I've got the southwest. The problem is I've forgotten what I'm doing. You're going to join me. Good, because I'm totally confused at what I'm doing. So, all right.
I do like the background.
Why? Thank you. Except that I can control my phone remotely, which is what I'm doing here because it's a little easier to use on my big screen. But I have also forgotten what I'm doing, so I've forgotten where I was, what this was, what action this was. Daytime broadcast.
Give me a second here.
No problem.
So, depending on how those bulbs communicate, are they on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
See, I don't have one here, and their website's not coming up for me.
Right now, I have it all controlled by Alexa, of course. That's the key.
So they should work with it.
Okay.
I'm just looking at one of the. I just pick a random one.
Can we set it up so that it works through the Alexa, or is that because that's the kind of the point?
Well, if you want to keep Alexa as your voice assistant, it can. Like all my stuff. All my stuff is all through. I use Google that as my voice assistant that communicates to Home Assistant.
So what are we looking at for Home Assistant? What do we need?
Home Assistant is going to be a locally hosted smart home software. So you have stuff like what I do with it. Actually, here. Let me change that.
Everything's in reverse for you, just so you know. Not like that's a big deal, because I think everything's too small to be read, but still.
know what? It is actually OBS, or not OBS. It's there we go. So I have stuff like this that I use.
Right. Right. Well, and that's what I'm asking. Is like I get that. How do you make that?
Yeah.
work?
Now, as far as the smart bulbs, they should work with it, because if they're like the GE ones, because GE made. Sorry, my
manufacturer is Olux, OHLUX, Oscar Hotel Lima Uniform X-ray.
Let me go to integrations.
The question, of course, is that a download? Do I need to download that?
It's a software that you have to install.
Okay. Is it free software that I have to install?
Oh yeah, it's open source.
What's it called?
Home Assistant. Here, I'll put it in.
I got it. Getting started. Is it? I mean, it is for PC, right?
Yes and no. It's a server.
Right, but I mean, like I download it for my PC, and then get an app on my.
I put the wrong address in there. Here, I put the link in our private chat so you can see it. No, it's you'd have to have like an extra PC or something along those lines that you could use, or I could build you one. I got the hardware to build them, and it's hardware sitting here in a corner. I don't use it anymore.
You mean a PC that's constantly running?
Yeah, kind of like a server.
Shut down.
Say again?
This PC never gets shut down.
Well, you wouldn't be able to install it on your PC there, because it'll use up a lot of your resources.
Okay. So whatever it is, it has to be dedicated to its job.
That, or it has to be kind of like a server, like a web server or such, that type of thing. You don't necessarily want it on your home PC. You can do it on there. There are ways, but I just don't recommend
eat up so much of my juice that it won't be. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm back to kind of dinking with Alexa here, which is fine. Because, I mean, I'm with you, but the biggest problem is going to be that I don't have a machine or space at the moment to run a machine that doesn't live its, that isn't dedicated to a different job at the moment.
You don't have something this big? You don't have space that big?
Well, so here's the thing. You know what I've been doing for the last couple of months, right?
Yeah, I do.
Throwing everything away and paring everything out and getting rid of everything. The last thing I need is one more thing coming back in and have to be monitored and watched and controlled, and
I get it.
It wouldn't be a big deal once everything is settled in, but right now, this, especially like this workbench and that workbench, are just covered. So yeah, I could put that here. We'd lose it in about 20 minutes, and then we'd have to go find it, and it'd take 3 or 4 days. We'd have to send in a search party. At some point in time, it'd be like, wait, why are we doing this? So
maybe when you do go into, I don't know if with everything going on, are you looking at getting your own place or continue on there?
No, we're actually going to continue here. It looks like that. So it looks like we're staying here. and that at least for the here and now for the next few years. So
Okay.
it looks like this is going to be a place where we're going to stay. So that's good because that means that we can. But that's why I'm saying I want to finish the purge and then start anew. Once we start anew, I might be interested in the idea of putting a server in here or something like that. It wouldn't be a big deal. But
when you get to that point, I think that's when you should really start looking at the smart home stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the other thing about smart home is, let me swap it back. Let me show you something real quick. You can actually monitor your energy usage, consumption, and what you produce. So there's I know you're in Denver, and Excel Energy. I just learned this from my buddy of mine who's actually still living there.
Right.
They have it set up so that you can actually connect Home Assistant to your meter reader that you have at your place.
Makes sense.
So then that way
we should be able to also connect to my solar panels.
Do you know what the brand is of those?
I don't off the top of my head, but
okay,
I know that the router has connected to them.
Yeah.
So my router has control over them.
Yeah. They didn't pick it up. But it's something like examples. Where is it? Somewhere on here. Just give me a second. So you could do stuff like, this is just a demo site that they have. And you can see your power control and also your energy distribution, what uses it and everything else.
Right.
So Home Assistant is a very powerful software and is all open source. It's free. They do have a subscription service for it, and I always recommend to do that. And that's on the navocasa.com. And what it does is it gives you external control through your cell phone. So if you're traveling or something like that. Also, it has that. It's a really easy way to integrate into the voice assistants, and it does work with your Alexa, but also Google, and you can actually do a built-in voice service, which I'm working on off and on to get mine to respond to the keyboard HAL, because I want to call my apartment HAL.
That makes sense.
Because I'm that big of a nerd.
Say I can't do that for you, Brent.
Yeah, exactly. If you do their monthly subscription, it's like $6.50 a month, or you could pay once a year at $65. And these guys are really good about integrations and everything else when it comes to their stuff.
Yeah, I'm not cool.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the best, but I'm also not, like, everything I do on Home Assistant for mine.
I'm making sure all my lights did what they were supposed to do.
And they do also have it set up that you can use the keyword of computer. That's one of the others that is built into the system natively. So.
Right. So we could use that one just like we have been doing before.
Yep.
All right. I am going through and just adding things like these two lights that are now new because I had to replace the bulbs because the bulbs actually burned out. Not the bulbs, but the controller burned out.
So just as an example, you can see here, this one also has a solar one that's built into it, so you can see how much you're producing and everything else, gas, all sorts of different sensors and everything. The initial setup is where people have run into issues with it, because once you fire it up, you're like, wow, that's a lot of how do I do this type of questions.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get into it, once you have it set up, like myself, I have automations set up so that if I plug in my phone, have you just, yeah, I do. If you just watch behind me here in a second. If I plug in my phone when I go to bed, because that's when I charge it, in about a minute, if this thing does what it's supposed to do, all my lights just turned off.
Yep. So it knows that you plugged in your phone, and therefore it's ready to shut everything down.
Mm-hmm. Ready for it to go into bedtime mode type of thing.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Because if you're like me, I only really charge my phone at bed.
Yeah.
Or when I go to sleep. So. But it's something I can help you out with.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to help you out. I figure it's just easier to hop on this instead of having to type everything.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You might as well just join me.
Yeah.
So, because I'm sitting here going through all of my routines and things like that, and start all of the stuff and get everything turned on, and I don't know. I'm actually setting all this stuff right now. So while we're doing this, I actually could probably just share my screen and show you what I'm doing. Not like it matters a whole lot, but it's, something.
And then you could do the really interesting thing of having it look like an LCAR screen, like I have it now.
Mm-hmm.
They have multiple options. There's Kardashian, the classic, default. I know that color coding is not the perfect ones. I still like the lower decks also.
Yep. I'm looking at all of this stuff. So, yeah, I'm going through and doing. Well, thank you, Dina. We're happy with you too.
Well, do you want attention or do you want to walk away?
It's like George. George was in here trying to go, and I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. And George is like, so he just left. I'm like, well, I mean, that's a thing.
Well, normally 11 o'clock, as you know, is I start crawling into bed, and he's bugging me about it because he knows that's when we normally go to lay down.
Right.
He's like, it's 11, dude. It's almost bedtime.
That's what George does. As soon as I lay in bed, he jumps up so he can get onto my chest so that I can scritch him in the head. The problem is that if I'm trying to read my phone, he then rubs up against my phone, knocking it onto my chest. He's like, I'm good with this. It's fine.
Yeah, I had my daughter over this weekend, and he was now that she's not here, he's like being all lovey-dovey and buttering up to me again.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Can you say hi? Can you say hi for me? Normally you're a little chatterbox, but
Right.
guess tonight you're being quiet.
That's all right. It's all right, Tormund. We know who you are.
You're a good kitty. All right. But yeah, if you want to start going that route, I can always help you out with that.
I appreciate that.
More than happy to.
We set the color for blue. This way, whenever we go to the nighttime, it will still be in here and still actually, you know what? That 100% of that blue is not bad. Right. So this is. I say good night, and everything turns off, and that turns the May light, which is just that one right there. Let's see if that works. Computer, good night. Didn't turn that one back on. Supposed to turn that one back on, and it didn't. Computer, lights. Oh, it did come back on for that though. Which makes me think that I'm going to have to just manually shut. See, that's the problem. I can turn all lights off. I can turn all lights on. What I cannot do is turn off some of the lights without having to go through and individually turn on each and every light or individually turn off each individual light.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes a problem. It will not accept this one.
So one of the things that you may want to see is if they do groupings within Alexa.
And then turn a group on.
Yeah, instead of as groups. Because that's how I have my all lights for mine. But then I can do the individual ones depending on where I need them or whatnot.
Yeah, well, and doing these here is easier by far.
Yeah.
And the automatic shutdown, which does this anyway, shuts off everything at night. Make sure that everything is off.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, at 1 a.m. every morning, if you will, there's a way. There's a way to do it. Hey, Sarge, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while.
So, so I have light color control also.
Just make sure this one's. I guess I don't need that one. Yeah, so I'm like that's the thing is I want to kind of set up some of these routines to be less obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and kill
Sickly green.
Everything. You're exhausted. Oh, that's cute. I like that. It's like spending time being in multiple colors.
See, mine allows me to have a color wheel where I can control it.
Oh yeah, I can control these by color wheel, but they're individual at this point, which that's not a problem, I guess.
Yeah. Or I can set a color loop so it loops through all the colors.
You're exhausted, huh, Sarge? What you doing here with us? We're late. We're up late. Oh, man. Spent pretty much most of the day trying to clean up my room, though, my office. I've gotten down to... We're doing pretty good here. This isn't bad. It's not awesome, but...
You're getting to awesome.
Yeah, we're getting there. So, Best Bud moved in, and so he's taking over that room there, which is fine. Because all I had in that room now is just my bed and a nightstand. So I moved my bed and my nightstand in right over there. But since I've been doing this whole scanning project, my office has gotten filled to the gills with bins of things that need to either be scanned or photographed or thrown away. And you make that decision. And so I've been doing that, but it's taking frickin' forever. And then I added my bed in here, and it was just impossible. There was no way to move in this place. There just wasn't. You could not move. So now I did a good portion of today. I just spent cleaning in here. And it's been pretty brutal, you know. So
you gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. What's in the gallery? Featured categories: home automation. Oh, some of these look like exactly. This is like kind of cool. Snore your lights off. Wait, here's snoring. That's funny. These are kind of cute. Like built-in routines. Like, what's this about? News. Here are the latest college football headlines. You know. The problem that I've got is that it never lets me have the news that I want to hear. Like, we still have that same problem that we've had since the beginning of the internet, which is Americans only speak English and never want to hear anything but U.S. news. And it's like nobody will ever offer me NHK news in Japanese. I'll be very lucky if I get NHK news at all, but it'll always be in English, and it's always only about American news. And I'm like, what if I want to hear what's going on in Japan? You know, like maybe I'm already kind of overhearing American news. You know, American news can be somewhat depressing sometimes, so. Kind of just interested in the idea of just hearing Japanese news. And it's like, it's so weird. Hey there, George. How you doing? You're still trying to figure out exactly what's going on in this room. George is like, I have no earthly idea what's happening here. This is so weird. You people are doing all this weird stuff.
See, I actually have one Alexa device, and I'm probably going to start using it again pretty soon. Which is just a dot. I know what I can do with my Google stuff, but I'm looking at moving a little bit to the Alexa to try that out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Only somewhat. Only somewhat depressing. Uh-oh. My phone has decided to dump it. My phone's trying to go to sleep.
I need to clean my desk off.
Yeah. This is one step at a time. We're getting there. But this will be completely. I'm hoping to have this office completely functional before school starts, so that once school starts,
Do you have your actual start date yet, or when classes start for you?
Not until Thursday. I find out at Thursday what's going on.
Okay.
So we'll figure out how this all goes.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going back to school some. But
I think it's a great idea.
Unfortunately for my profession, really college isn't what a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a lot more of the hands-on knowledge.
Right.
But there are some good things about it. And it just comes down to, though, where do I see myself in 5 years? And really where I see myself is in a school bus traveling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you need to find yourself a business that will work. And, you got to figure out how, unless you can become independently wealthy, which could happen.
Yeah, that could happen. But really for me, it's like with my career path, 90% of it can be done remote.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking. And a lot of it is.
You don't have to be necessarily in spot for this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So that's definitely a thing you can do. I, on the other hand, am trying to figure out how to organize all of this stuff over here so that I can get things in the right place. Because nothing is in the right place. It's all been dismantled. So GP is gone? I didn't know the GP had left. Did you go back to China? Visit with family?
Hopefully that's only a temporary thing there, Sarge.
Right. We do seem to have an epidemic going through right now. I am cleaning my office too, by the way, if you're wondering why I keep wandering away.
No worries, I hear you.
Yeah, I figured you guys could still hear me. She's visiting her brothers. Gotcha. Man, that's a long way. I guess it depends on where you're going.
Well, if you're going to China to visit family, you make it last.
Yeah, that's fair. You're not wrong.
Like I know one of my former bosses, actually out there in Colorado, when he would go to China, he'd be there for a good month or two.
Yeah. You kind of have to.
Yeah.
Goes into going overseas, you definitely don't want to be there for a week.
Unless you're going back and forth constantly.
I mean, like, there will be a time here where I'm going to head to Japan at some point here in the next year or two for just school. And it's going to be 3-4 months. It's certainly not going to be 5 minutes.
No, you'll be there for a while.
I'll be there for a while. As you are wont to do if you head overseas. Anyway, that's the way that goes. Power cable over here. Nice. Look at it not being in the way. Look at me cleaning up this place and making it look like a normal place. Yeah, this place kind of got out of hand. And then it really got out of hand. And now I'm kind of trying to get it back in hand.
Yeah. That way you can get back to writing Bellatrix Rising #2.
Yep. Which has already been edited twice. I'm actually pretty happy with the new edit. It's pretty good. So, that'll be cool. Whew. Yeah, this. So yeah, Bellatrix Rising #2. We've been editing on, and oh yeah, Brent, do you like that 3D printer?
Which one?
I don't know. That's coming from Sarge.
Oh, yeah, actually I do. It's the Ender 3 Pro, 2nd gen. It's one of the older styles. I've just upgraded with new hardware and so forth over time. This Christmas I'm getting a dual Z access, so that will make prints a lot cleaner and better. Depending on what you're going to use it for, Sarge, depends on the type of printer I always recommend. If you're wanting like terrain for wargaming or large objects, then yeah, FDM is good. If you do more of like miniatures for role-playing games and such, then yeah, SLA or resin printing is a better route.
I'll second that.
Just all depends on what you're going to use it for or plan to use it for.
Right.
So mini starships, then yes, I'd suggest a resin printer. Which reminds me, I'll be right back.
Asking for somebody to knock it over, and that somebody would be George. And George will knock it over. Definitely. Yeah, if you're doing starships. Hey, Alicia. What?
Just as I got back to. So, this is my Akira.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, she's almost the same size as mine.
This is actually a resin 3D print.
Right, but I'm just saying it's the same size as my.
Yeah.
It's
about. Oh, shoot, I don't have the tape measure here. Oh, there's. So a little over 4 inches, probably, yeah, about 5 inches. 5 inches. This is the one I'm going to paint up and put in epoxy.
Yep, I think that'll look cool.
I think it would be cool too.
I like this plan. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Whew. We're getting dangerously close to a clean room.
Oh, trust me, Sarge. Once you start 3D printing, like that first month, you're going to be going, oh, project this, project that, and then about a month later, you're like, now what do I do? Because you got all your projects done. Unless you're a guy, and then worry about it for a year, and then hand it off to a young gentleman who's going to print everything for you.
I'm just saying, that was a better plan.
Hey, it's a good plan.
That's the plan. Got my guts on. A whole bunch of like weird stuff in here. Yeah, you. How you doing? Whew. Getting closer and closer and closer to actually having like a real room in here. Whew. All right, move you. Right here. You.
All right. Well, I am actually going to go, sir. It is 1:45 midnight for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you're. Well, and I probably should go too because all I'm doing is moving stuff around. That's not very exciting to watch. So, I probably should move along as well. But I'm pretty pleased with how close to nominal we've gotten over here. So, some things you might want to think about, Sarge, before you go for resin, though. And that is they smell. They're very stinky. And the resin can be relatively toxic. So you want to be sure you have a nice open window by the printer so that it can
well ventilated space.
Yeah. And wear gloves when you use the resin because it's not good for you. So
Guy actually had a show on Rocky Mountain Geek Tank. I was there about a month ago now where we talked about all that stuff. So check it out.
Check it out. It's on the Geek Tank channel. So, but yeah, it is 10:45 here. It's 11:45 there. I think we only have about 15 minutes anyway in the show, so I'm just going to leave early, and you can leave early. And thank you for joining me, though.
Oh, no problem.
On this automation channel. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to figure out how to do all this automation stuff. That's gonna
I'll help you out. I got you.
You got me. You always do. You always got my back. That's the way it goes. Appreciate that. Always will.
No problem.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for being here. And thank you for joining me tonight. And I will see you all on the morrow. And as always, remember to keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.
Bye.